Welcome to Click for Biology. We're looking at the characteristics of living organisms. There's a PDF of this presentation in the description. You can use that for your own notes. Biology is the study of life, living things, and so we need to be able to distinguish between what we call living and things which are non-living. The mnemonic Mrs. R GREN summarizes for us the characteristics shown by all living things. The M stands for movement. All living things can move. Sometimes that movement is in times that we can understand, such as the running of a cheetah, but also there's movement in more subtle ways, such as the growth and movement of plants towards stimuli. A second feature of living things is respiration. Now, respiration is the release of energy from what we might call food molecules, and those are used to generate another molecule called ATP. And ATP is the type of molecule which essentially provides the energy to all biologically active processes. Respiration is making ATP. All living things move, all living things respire. All living things also do what is called sensitivity. In sensitivity, there's a stimulus, a stimuli in the environment, a change in the environment, and the organism is able to detect that change and to respond to that change. All living things show sensitivity, MRS. Now, the R of Mrs. GREN stands for regulation. Living things in different ways attempt to regulate their internal conditions so that they can optimize their chemistry for life. An example which we can easily understand in regulating is that of regulating body temperature. So if the temperature increases or decreases, our body temperatures remain roughly constant. And we'll explore the reasons for this regulation in different parts of the syllabus. We're on to the G of Mrs. GREN, and that stands for growth. All living things get bigger. Their mass increases. Now, this can be seen in two different ways. One is that a cell can simply get larger and larger, and in order to do that, it needs to take in substances to increase its mass. That is growth. Another way in which organisms can grow is that one cell can divide to give us 2 cells, 2 can give us 4, 4 gives us 8, so we have cell division. So growth shows itself in an increase in cell size and in cell number. The R of GREN stands for reproduction. All living things reproduce. They produce new individuals of the same species, and we'll go on to look at how there are two different strategies for this. There's what we call asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction, and they have very different consequences for the offspring which are produced. The E is for excretion. Now, excretion is when a cell produces toxic molecules inside the chemistry of the cell, and so it's necessary for that cell to get rid of that toxic molecule. So when a cell gets rid of that molecule outside of itself, that is excretion. In larger multicellular organisms, excretion is more elaborate, and in ourselves we have structures, organs such as kidneys, which actually help us to rid ourselves of these toxic molecules. So the toxic molecules come from within the cell. And finally, the N of Mrs. Gren. This stands for nutrition. Nutrition is when organisms have one of two strategies. We have what are called autotrophs. Auto means self, autotrophs. And that would be an example of photosynthesis, which plants do. They make their own molecules. Animals, on the other hand, are what we call heterotrophs. What they do instead is that they consume, they eat other living things to obtain their biological molecules. So we have the autotrophs and the heterotrophs on their different strategies of nutrition. All of these characteristics are the basis of what we study later during this IGCSE course. The difference between living and non-living is that all living things show all of these characteristics. So you have to have all of these characteristics, all of them. Now, to consolidate your learning, here are 4 questions for you. What you can do now is pause the video, answer the questions, and then when finished, go down into the description to check the answers, the description of the video below. Thank you for watching.